What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Zulo here, back with another vid. This time we're going to be going over the top 5 beginner tips and tricks for Absolver. Tip number 1. Learning new moves. In the beginning of the game, you can expect to start with next to nothing, except your stock stats and moves. An important basic step needed to help progress is unlocking new moves. To do this, you must not rush your attacks on an enemy, but instead allow them to throw punches and combos at you. If you see this icon above their head, that means you are progressing your knowledge on that move. Once it reaches the end of the circle, you unlock that move and be allowed to use it in your combat deck. An important thing to note is that if you die by your opponent, all progress in the move will be lost. So spar until you feel like you have learned enough from your enemy, but allow yourself enough wiggle room to still be able to finish them off. Tip number 2. Weight distribution. As I said before, in the beginning of the game, you will start with nothing, but of course, as you progress through the game and defeat enemies, you will sometimes be rewarded with an item drop. One of these items you may receive is gear for your character. If you don't come from a background of playing Dark Souls or a game that utilizes a weight distribution feature, you must be very wary of the gear you equip. For instance, if you end up decking your character out in a bunch of armor so you take less damage, you can expect to attack very slowly and have very low stamina. So as you go on unlocking more equipment, be sure to take that into account. Tip number 3. Predictability. As I'm sure most of you have come to know Absolver as a fighting game, and well, frankly that's because it is. When it all boils down to it, it's all about outplaying your opponent. Some things that help you in this path are making decks that consist of both upper and lower body shots, to prevent blocks and avoid being predictable, as well as feinting or faking, which stops you from doing one move and quickly switches to another. Of course, if you want to be a master, there is another player by the name of Grey Maiden that goes into a lot more detail about applying effective pressure, reading and escaping pressure, and a bunch more. And as I don't want to absolutely butcher her guide, I will leave a link to it in the description for those of you who are interested. Tip number 4. Exploring. Although the game may be mainly about fighting and progressing through the story of finding out what it means to become an Absolver, that doesn't mean you shouldn't also take some time to explore. After watching the public access and countless streams, I can tell you that there are things to find in the game. For instance, a YouTuber by the name of Justice on PC has a video where he shows you how to unlock the stagger style, in which you need to first find and defeat a mini-boss and then run to a random door that is now unlocked due to you beating said mini-boss, and then beyond that door is an NPC you talk to who becomes your mentor and then shows you how to do the stagger style after you progress in levels through it. Anyways, he has a full guide on how to unlock the style, and if you want to check him out, I'll leave a link in the description box down below. But basically, what I'm saying is, don't rush the story, but instead take the time to explore, and maybe, just maybe, you will be rewarded. Tip number 5. Speed isn't everything. When you first start playing Absolver, you will quickly find out that the enemies aren't lifeless beings for you to wail on, but instead, efficient matchups, which can sometimes lead to the defeat of your prospect. The 3 things to bear in mind when in combat are as follows. 1. Your stamina. 2. How aggressive your enemy is. And 3. Comboing accordingly. Number 1. Stamina, because you want to have enough to both attack and have enough to escape and dodge attacks. Number 2. You want to know how aggressive your enemy is because it will better help you judge their flaws when attacking, or being too passive. Number 3, so long as you time your attacks, you will be rewarded with faster combos as your character flashes gold. But just know that all combos can be broken, so try to stay as unpredictable as possible. And that concludes my top 5 beginner tips and tricks for Absolver. I hope everyone enjoyed, and if you did, please hit that like button because it helps me out a ton, and maybe consider subscribing for future Absolver content. Until next time, take it easy. Peace.